So the first thing I want to mention is that video games have music. As you can probably tell, there's a bunch of music and sound effects almost like everywhere in the world. Music and sound effects can be found in like different forms of media, such as movies or even TV shows. Even things outside of media, like if you went to the mall or grocery store and got tortured by being forced to listen to the latest Taylor Swift song while you're in the self-checkout machine at Walmart, say insert cash or select payment type. Forever, it just kept saying it, and it just keeps saying it over and over and over. There's like 3 billion videos on YouTube already explaining why video game music is good and stuff, so I don't want to say that again. The difference with me is that I'm actually here to be a hero and to save the day for the community of people who care about music and stuff. I feel that it's just sounds and music in general has been so normalized in day-to-day life that people kind of downplay its importance in just video games in general. You might be asking, okay, well, who are you to tell me why music and sounds are important in games? And to that I say, nobody really. Like, I'm not really, I'm just a guy who plays way too many games and is an absolute freak about music. So let's start off with video game music is music in video games. I don't know what you were expecting me to say, honestly. Like, that's in the title. Okay, I'm gonna actually start our video off with sound effects because I think it's a lot easier to explain the importance of sound effects rather than the importance of music. Now, why do I say sound effects is more important? Well, that's just because, well, you recognize that, didn't you? That's exactly my point. That's exactly why I'm saying it's easier to say sound effects over music. Sound effects can add so much to the experience of a game. They can be like emotional catalysts that can make sad moments even sadder, or epic moments even epicer, or a suspenseful moment even more suspenseful. Yeah, you get the point, but they can also just be straight up iconic. Everyone knows the jingle and sound effect that plays when you open a chest in Ocarina of Time and get an item. It's actually so iconic, in fact, that it's been remade in some way in like every Zelda game to ever come out after it. Okay, editing me here, I just want to make sure it's known that yes, I do know the first Zelda game, the original Zelda was the first game to have the, sound effect when you pick up an item, but I'm talking specifically about the jingle because the jingle was made in Ocarina of Time. The little build up, that was from Ocarina of Time. That's what I'm talking about. Everyone knows the Pac-Man death sound, the Mario jump sound, the Overwatch kill sound, the Fortnite knock sound, or even the Among Us emergency button. Yeah, I know, Among Us, leave me alone. These sound effects are things that are practically linked to the games that they came from because of how important they are to the game itself. A sound effect can just also flat out be cool with no actual importance to the game. A big example of that for me personally is the Persona series and the Kingdom Hearts series. The menu sound effects for those games have been stuck in my head for literally ever and I can't get them out. Please help me. I keep hearing the sound effects from the Kingdom Hearts menu all the time. It's haunting me. Please help. The importance of sound effects is not really a debate among gaming communities as much because people realize, yeah, sound effects are kinda important and can do a lot for a game. And while it is great that sound effects get the recognition they deserve, sadly, from what I've seen, music doesn't, which is why I want to move on to yeah, we're not doing music just yet. As mentioned before with the Zelda example, jingles are like short sound bites that are similar to songs but play at specific parts in the game to reinforce that the 5-second song is connected to this action in a game. The most common jingle are ones that are used at the ends of levels. For example, the one in every single Sonic game. With the objective best one being in Sonic 06, I swear that one is majestical. Do not debate me on this. The jingle from Sonic 06 is the best one and it will never be beat. Another pretty easy example is the jingle from Mario, because I'm 1000% sure that you have heard some iteration of this at some point in your life. I don't really have a transition, so here's There's nothing really special to say about the general background music in games. The music that I consider to be in this category can be good, bad, okay, amazing, etc. It doesn't really matter. General background music, in my opinion, is just music that plays in the background of a game with no real connection to the game itself or to the story. These are probably the easiest songs to implement in games because you kind of just make them and they exist, and that's really it. Okay, now with that being said, I do not say that to downplay the process of making music, whether it be for video games or not. But what I'm saying with my point is that because the music is more general, there's no real integration to the game itself. So producers and developers of both songs and the game themselves do not have to go the extra mile to produce different effects to, kind of link the song to the game. But do not let this fool you, because most of the best songs in games are just general background songs. The only point I am trying to make with this segment is to say that general background songs are simply songs that play in the background. Nothing more and nothing less. That's pretty much all there is, with a few exceptions to that rule. Now, I would like to move on to a little bit of, hey yo, editing me here. The next part of the script had nothing to do with the video at all, so I decided to cut it out, but I thought I made a funny joke, so I'm going to leave it in here. Honestly, staring at the ceiling while listening to the Station Square theme from Sonic Adventure 1 is one of my favorite pastimes. You guys should try it out sometime.
Alright, that's cool.
Rhythm games are quite literally the exact definition of games where music is important, because the music is the game. Having a good rhythm game without music is like having a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, except you don't have bread, or peanut butter, or jelly. They are the heart and soul of rhythm games, and for good reason. Focusing your game around music would obviously make the music in the game important, but that concept is super boring. At least to me. While I do enjoy playing rhythm games, and I enjoy the music in most of the rhythm games that I play, I find it super duper mega really boring because there's nothing cool about the music. It's supposed to be played and you're supposed to time your gameplay with it. While that's fun and all, I would like to propose something a little more unique. Okay, editing me here again to ruin the damn video, but the next part was supposed to be about Metal Gear Rising. It was a little long, so I'm just going to summarize it. Metal Gear Rising does this cool thing where when you're in a climactic moment like a boss fight, the music will time to your button presses. That's really cool because it's musical integration and timing in a game that isn't a rhythm game. Anyways, that's all. I just want to mention that, and I don't want to make you sit through a 10-minute rant. Okay, that's enough about Metal Gear Rising. Let's talk about it. I don't really know if there's a real term for this, so I'm just personally gonna call it dynamic music. Basically what I mean by that is just music that is affected by the gameplay. Easiest example of this, water levels. Yeah, we gotta talk about water levels for a sec. In most games, the music in water levels go from normal music to sounding water-y, I guess. Another small example is the boost mechanic in modern Sonic games, where the music goes super cool, and it's like Sonic himself can hear the music and it's getting distorted because he's going Mach 3 billion. Those are just two small examples of what I mean by dynamic music. But, they're not the only games you can find them in. You can find them in many different games. Just don't ask me which games or where to find those games, because I don't know. Okay, I don't know everything. Dynamic music isn't just affected by gameplay either. It could be affected just by things in the story. Like if a song has two versions or something, and it switches between the two depending on what character you play as, for example. I don't know if this concept exists. I have no clue what I'm talking about. I'll give a small example of Persona 5, where when you get further into a palace, it'll change from one version of a song to a different version of a song. Stuff like that. Okay, moving on.
Here comes a daredevil.
I just want to quickly talk about songs that's linked to story and leitmotifs for a sec. I'm going to give a very short, quick example. Final Fantasy 15. Love that game. You should love that game too. If you don't like that game, you're wrong. But in Final Fantasy 15, the summons have this certain leitmotif that I really love that's playing right now. Listen to this. basically during the game, during every single summon fight that you have as Noctis, you will hear this leitmotif, and it's cool, and I think it's really awesome. It's kind of like a jingle except in an actual song. Leitmotifs are also used in a lot of different games, but honestly, I'm not gonna keep talking about leitmotifs, man. There's other people on YouTube who talk about leitmotifs. Please watch them after you finish this video. In conclusion, I just wanted people to stop acting like music and sound in general aren't extremely important in games. I barely talked about the actual depth of how important those things are and how integral music and sound effects are to making the experience of an overall game. But I just hate seeing all these people who just understate how much music can just make a game. Imagine playing Mario 1-1 and never hearing that iconic song. Or in Sonic 1 during Green Hill Zone, they never had any music that set the tone for not only the stage, but literally Sonic forever, because they keep bringing back Green Hill Zone and they need to stop at some point, really. Or even the main theme of Zelda. All of these iconic songs for games that people love are extremely important. And they're not just nice songs to listen to. They're things that can just create generational love, I guess. These songs can make or break a gaming experience, and these sound effects can make or break your teammate's microphone because they'll keep screaming in it when you don't hear someone walking in Valorant. That's really it. Yeah, bye bye. I'ma get to mention when you see my jutsu, my name will start to mention. I'ma see this life cause the cost is too expensive. Demon souls on my iPod playing games. What do you want? Colo did it first. Yes, that's to my bitch, but I still put you in a curse. Just eating out and fly like birds, always early to the worm. Miss with us, we quest for it, you gon' live in life.